So, if you'd asked me my prediction before the game, I think I would have given you the score that it was, which is 1-1, West Ham versus Bournemouth. It's exactly what happened tonight. What I didn't count on happening, however, was that it was actually a really exciting game to watch. So whilst you don't draw pictures on the scorecard, which is what my dad used to say, and despite going 1-0 up, I have to say I'm incredibly happy with the end result, with the scoreline. The first half was definitely better than the second half. It was a lot more promising. The second half had a bit less togetherness. I think losing Soler was probably part of that. I think he slowed the game down a little bit and gave us a bit more time to breathe in the midfield. But ultimately, I think in the second half, Bournemouth just played better. They had a bit more fight in them, whereas I think we were happier trying to keep it to a 0-0 draw initially. That's not to say, though, that we were sitting back or anything like that, like we would have done with Moyes either, though. For all the times where we've had a bit more success with Moyes in the past, not that it was always the case. I think a lot of the time the complaints were that it was just very boring, very uninspiring football. And I really don't think that we saw that tonight. It wasn't the world's best. But if our main complaint last season and the season before was that the games were boring to watch, tonight was anything but. If we would have said that tonight was going to be a 1-1 draw, you probably would have given this game a miss. But for me, I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of the game. I'm colour me happy, this one. So, look, I mean, first of all, just looking at the starting lineup, I wasn't particularly impressed. I was really concerned about what Lopetegui was going to do. But I still don't think Bowen as a number 9 is a good shout. I still think he's a right winger. He needs to play there. If we're going between Kudus and Bowen on the right wing, it's Bowen all day long. I'm not a fan of Kudus on that left wing. I don't know where to put him. And he is still a great player. And I think in the first half, he played really, really well. It was just missing that end product. But I do think he's one of those players that it's individual brilliance. I don't think there's enough. There was a couple of times, though, in the first half that he did look up and play a ball through, and with Bowen. But it doesn't happen enough. You do feel like he runs at the defence quite a lot, which is obviously, exciting to watch sometimes, but it does often end in losing the ball after he's taken on his 5th player. I do wish that after the 3rd, maybe he'd look up and put it on, right? But that hasn't happened enough. I think he ran his heart out that whole game. He put everything in, but as I say, that end product just wasn't there. The substitution, I think, whilst controversial, was correct at the time. Just as I think he'd run out of gas at that point, and I think we'd got the best out of him in the game. And whilst I thought by taking him off, we would be resigning ourselves to, a goalless or soulless performance. Actually, I think that we did well enough without him, as we have done in previous games, to prove to me that it's not the be-all and end-all. You have to be working as a unit, as a team. It can't just be one player doing everything at once, though he is willing to do that. And obviously we want people to fight for the badge. So that's why he's so popular, and popular in my eyes too. But yeah, we just need a bit more balance and a bit more teamwork. I was a bit gutted not to see Fullkrug starting, to be honest, as much as I know that he's been out of action for a significant period of time. Having him back is a real exciting prospect. With the goal he scored at Leicester, shows that, you know, he can score the kind of goals we need him to, getting in amongst it, nice and sort of tidy passing. We saw it tonight. It was a real shame, actually, that the goal that we scored, obviously with the penalty, Fullkrug had a great chance, great header. It was just a shame. It was loads of power, and it was just a shame that it was straight at the keeper. I don't think he knew a lot about it, Kepa. But I mean, you have to applaud. It was still a good save nonetheless. But I think if just a couple of, I don't know, half a metre or a couple of feet each side of that goal, that was in, you know? And it was a shame, because otherwise that would have given us a real confidence and momentum, and would have given Fullkrug some more confidence, and everybody getting a bit more belief, and hopefully lead to more game time. And God knows we need another striker right now. So, but it was still a promising performance when he did come on. I think he did make a good impact. But yeah, ultimately, you know, it didn't have an end result. But I think he's the kind of player who needs to play the whole game. So more to come from him, I think, which is exciting. The penalty itself, I mean, look, no one called for it, right? I even when I saw the replay the first couple of times, it's only when you saw the flight of the ball and saw it spinning and then suddenly counterspin that actually you notice that it's been handled, right? By the letter of the law, that's a penalty, and it was rightly given, but very easily missed, and I can understand why you would feel hard done by on that. I am obviously ecstatic that we scored the penalty, but I am really not a fan of that penalty taking style. I hate it. I hate anything that, hate any kind of like trickery or like the dive-in aspects of the game these days, and the dark arts or whatever you want to. I hate it, mate. For me, it's just, I understand it and it's got a place and it's tactics, but those kind of penalties, if you miss them, you just end up looking so stupid. I just don't feel like it's worth it. I just don't feel like the juice is worth the squeeze. But Paquetá seems to score them, and you can see as he slows down, you can see Kepa go one way, and it's a simple tap in then to his right. So I can't hate results, and I don't, but it just feels a bit, you know, a bit cheaty to me. I did really like Paquetá celebrating, grabbing the badge, going over to Lopetegui. Whatever you think about Lopetegui, it's just great to see some solidarity, see a West Ham united. That's what we want to see. And, you know, love him or hate him, it's just good to see some togetherness. I think Fabianski had a great game. If you consider that Bournemouth, all in all, had 29 shots. Now, granted, not all of them were on target, And we can't continue allowing teams to have that level of attacking force on us. Because it's just a numbers game at that point. Sooner or later, it's just going to go in. There's nothing you can do about it. But, as I said, Fabianski looks solid, justified his position. I do feel sorry for Areola. He had a couple of bad games. But Fabianski's got to really seriously split up for you to take the shirt from him, and I don't think he is right now. It was a really solid performance from him. You're not saving that free kick. I don't care who you are. That was an incredible free kick from Bournemouth. I wasn't even really looking at the time. I was still frustrated about Mavropanos because I do rate him as a defender, but he's just every now and then he just makes stupid decisions. He's got that mistake in him, yeah, as they say, and otherwise he had a really good game, but it's those stupid mistakes, those fine margins in the Premier League that lead to this compound effect of having 29 shots and all these opportunities to score. One of them's going to go in. And if he didn't make that rash challenge, they didn't get that free kick, they didn't score that. And I know it's very simple, cause and effect, but I don't... He needs to be drilled better than that. I think another positive of the game for me was being able to see some academy players out there. They're not youth players anymore, right? They're academy players. And I think Scarles had a good showing. He had a good little run out. I was really pleased for him. The Casey one felt a little bit more forced, but still nice to get him on the pitch. Nice to feel like there's a route to the first team for the youth team. It's been said a lot by this channel and others and any other talking head or whatever, but if you are the Academy of Football, well, we need to start proving it. And I think tonight, I don't have a lot bad to say about Lopetegui or the way that we played or anything like that. I feel really positive about tonight. In the end, it was a really hard fought draw. And, whilst this scoreline last season or the season before against Bournemouth would have made me feel a very different way, I've got to say that what I saw tonight, I thought is something that we can build on. Whether we do or not is another matter, and that's where the results need to be measured against. Games like tonight, games like Newcastle, where we've got that togetherness. What is it that's getting us that? What can we build upon and keep moving with? That's what we need to work out. We need to figure out that best 11, those best tactics for each situation, and double down on them, get some consistency. Because we're seeing some areas where we've got some really good passages of play, but just that final ball isn't there because the players just aren't used to being around each other enough in those positions. Because it's being chopped and changed too much. A bit of consistency will go a really long way. But look, it came with varying degrees of success tonight. And while I still feel like Bournemouth were the better team, and I think that we knew that before the game, and if you'd have said 1-1, which I did, I'd have taken that. We still managed to get the point, even though we weren't the better team. And these are the games where, those are the kind of games that are really important when it comes down to the end in the league table, right? And I think I said after the Arsenal game that in the next run-up of games towards the end of the year, we need to be getting something like 9-10 points for Lopetegui to save his job, right? We're now at 4 points, where I feel like we probably should have been at about 6. Because I feel like we should have had the Leicester game. That should have been a bagged-in 3 points. We should have had the Wolves game. That was another nailed-on 3 points to me. So that's 6. I didn't think we were really going to get anything at Bournemouth, though I had an inkling before tonight that we would. But you asked me then, I didn't think we were getting anything out of the Bournemouth game. And by the way, my 1-1 prediction was really based upon the Carabao Cup game that I was at the stadium for and watched. And it was an incredibly boring game. And I thought we'd just cancelled each other out. And boy, was I wrong. Right, because tonight, as I say, it was back and forth. It was a great game. I really, really enjoyed it. And with Brighton not being in form right now, and Southampton being a very winnable game, it's not out of the realms of possibility that Lopetegui can still pull this together. And I want him to. Not because I like Lopetegui. I can't understand the guy, right? But because I want West Ham to succeed. We don't want to be chopping and changing managers all the time. We want to get the right one, stick with it, go on a run. Get some consistency. But all in all, a much more cohesive performance tonight. Really pleased with the end result. Enjoyable game to watch. We really need to start picking up the points. And this is just as good a start as any.